Hey everybody, DK here with Adventures in Dirt, and Forrest Fenn treasure has been found. That's right, the treasure of Forrest Fenn has been found. Amazing news coming out tonight from Forrest Fenn himself, releasing a statement earlier tonight that his elusive treasure that he hid years ago and that thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people have been out searching for, including myself, has been found. Just an amazing story coming out for all treasure hunters out there that were involved in the treasure hunt of Forrest Fenn. What an amazing night. People have been talking about it. My phone's been blowing up. All fellow searchers that I've been involved with have just been absolutely blown up. I know it's late. Coming out to you live here. I just wanted to go live real quick and talk about it. For those of you that are interested in it. For those of you who didn't know, Forrest Fenn hid a treasure years ago, a treasure chest full with, the valuation of the treasure chest has actually been debated over the years, but I'm telling you, it was worth a lot of money, a lot of gold nuggets in there, golden eagle coins, double eagle coins, a lot of gems and jewelry, jade, some old Indian artifacts. Now, his biography was in there, just a lot of items. And if you're not familiar with the Forrest Fenn treasure, we're going to talk about it tonight. But unfortunately, you can't go out and search for it with us anymore because today it was announced that it has been found. Hey, everyone, just want to say hi to you coming into the chat room tonight. I see the 5280 Adventures is in the chat room, staying up late with me tonight. Tony, how you doing? Good to see you. Smith's Gold, Jeff, what do you think about that? Were you a Forrest Fenn fan? Were you a fan of that treasure legend? I'm telling you. Shay Caster's first one in. Thanks for coming. Metal Detecting Land and Water. What's up, man? How you seeing? Rayman61. Hey there, Ray. What's going on? There are people kind of talking about Colorado. First of all, let me know in the chat if you're familiar with Forrest Fenn and his treasure. If not, we're going to talk about that tonight. Amazing story coming out directly from Forrest Fenn himself. I went live so fast tonight that I didn't get set up for it. I don't have a lot of stuff preloaded here that we can go take a look at. But let me pull up some stuff real quick. Hold on right here. Well, the first thing we do is we will go ahead and take a look over here. First of all, let me know in the chat how I'm sounding out there. Is the audio good? Picture good? Let me know how it's looking. But we're going to go over here to the web and take a look at this. Real quick. There we go. Yeah, so right here, this comes from Del Neitzel's blog over here, and this message is from Forrest Fenn that he released today at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and it says the following: "The treasure has been found. It was under a canopy of stars in the lush forested vegetation of the Rocky Mountains and had not moved from the spot where I hid it more than 10 years ago. I do not know the person who found it, but the poem in my book led him to the precise spot. I congratulate the thousands of people who participated in the search and hope they will continue to be drawn by the promise of other discoveries." So the search is over. Look for more information and photos in the coming days from Forrest. And Forrest always signs his direct communication with that F that represents his name, Forrest. So amazing news coming out of the treasure hunting community tonight. That's why I had to go late in the game. Let me go back over here to the chat and see what's going on over here. Metal Detecting NC, North Carolina. How you doing there, man? Good to see you there. Mike, right? Just had to go live tonight to make the announcement that the hunt for Forrest Fenn's treasure has been found. It's over. It is over. And for those of us that were searchers for that treasure, that have spent years thinking of solves and racking our brains on where we could possibly think it was, just an amazing happening here in the treasure hunting community. I know I normally talk about metal detecting. I was actually just getting ready to release a lot of videos regarding Forrest Fenn to let my audience know about it if they weren't familiar with it, and kind of let people in on a lot of thoughts I had about it. So I guess I can talk about it here tonight. It's not going to ruin anything for anybody, I'll tell you that. Good to see you, Dragonfly Diggs. Hey, I was watching one of your videos tonight. Congratulations on those nuggets you found. Congratulations. Ezra Kidder is in the house. I'm glad somebody found it too. Somebody asked me on text, and I was texting all kinds of people tonight whether I was sad or not. And I'm not. I'm actually happy. I think I know somebody that is happier than I am, and it's probably Forrest Fenn himself. Again, if you're just tuning in, the treasure of Forrest Fenn has been found. This was released by Forrest himself earlier today. But, it was him and his wife, I think, were getting pretty, and his entire family are getting pretty tired, I think, of being harassed and all the attention that it garnered. Now, he brought it upon himself. That's understandable, right? But I think that they really had enough. I know that his place had been broken into a number of times, and the bookstore and the art gallery, and all, even though he doesn't own it anymore, and all kinds of stuff like that was going on. So it's interesting. This year, 2020, has seen the release of a lot of very interesting comments from Forrest. And personally, my personal thoughts that I've never really talked to you guys about is, and I think Tony, maybe you and I have talked about it, I really think he wanted it to be found. I really think he wanted this to be over. Unfortunately, there's been a number of searchers that have passed away searching for this treasure. They've gotten themselves in precarious predicaments, on their own accord, and found themselves in trouble and actually passed away during the search, had accidents and such. So that's very unfortunate, very unfortunate. But Forrest said on many occasions, don't go where a 70 or 80-year-old man wouldn't be able to go. So if you're climbing down cliffs or wading in a fast-moving river, don't be searching there, because he wouldn't have been able to do that when he hid the treasure chest. So no one knows. Gold Shark Mark, how you doing? No one knows where it was found yet. There's a lot of speculations. Now everyone's going from searcher to hoping it was in their area of a search. You know what I mean? I'm hoping for Colorado. A lot of my recent search has been in Colorado. But I was also up in Wyoming looking for it, and had looked at other up in Montana. I'd looked at other ideas up there also, but my main focus of my search has been in Colorado. So we'll see how it goes. I want to say hi to, let me see who else popped in here. I know it's late. Thank you all for coming on in here. Ray Barunso, good to see you. No one knows yet where it was found. Forrest said in his statement that he would be releasing pictures and more information later. I'm sure they're probably trying to get all that figured out. There's been a lot of talk recently about the whole legalities of finding a treasure like that, and maybe that being a clue as to where he hid it because of land laws and such, as to what would be required. And the fact that he had mentioned that he had consulted with many attorneys ahead of time about where he hid it, probably talking about land law and what rights people would have finding abandoned treasure like that. A lot of talk has been coming on lately about the poem, saying that he gives, I give you title to the gold, right? He gives you title to the gold, but what about the jewels and the gems and the trinkets and the Indian artifacts and the silver and everything else? Does that, automatically include those, or does he get those back? I mean, there's been a lot of talk about that. And if you're just joining us, we're talking about Forrest Fenn and his elusive treasure that many tens of thousands have been searching for, if not hundreds of thousands have searched for over the years. And it has been found, definitely has been found. It's been, it's exciting for me because I've been so involved in it for so long. I haven't really talked about it very much, especially here on the channel. I was telling Tony, I was just getting ready to jumping in. Yeah, it is exciting news. Ezra, absolutely. Chad Justin, welcome. There's a lot of people that say that the treasure never really existed, and maybe Forrest is just ending this. And there's a lot of people there's a lot of speculation about a lot of things, right? So Forrest starts with his book, and he puts the poem in there, and the poem is going to lead you straight to the treasure. He says there's 9 clues within that poem. It's a 6 stanza, 24-line poem, and if followed in order, they would lead you to the treasure, right? And some people are poem purists. I'm one of them, that believe that, yeah, that's the truth. You have to follow that poem in order to the 9 clues, decipher the 9 clues, and follow them in order to find the treasure. There's a lot of people that then take what Forrest has said since releasing that book, which has just been a tremendous amount of things that he's said that everyone reads hints into and wonders if they're hints and takes them as hints. And I know how that is, man. I know how that is. I get wrapped up in that too, but I always try to find my way back to that poem. So we don't have to worry about it anymore because the treasure's been found. Now all the speculation is, will he release who found it, where it was found, and pictures of it, and really wrap it up for everyone. I think it's going to be an exciting couple of weeks here. Hopefully he gets to it quick. I know that people are chomping at the bit. So if you're just joining us one more time, I'll go over to the statement that he released earlier. Let's head on over to Del Neitzel's blog and check out what he said here. Here we go. This is from Del Neitzel's blog that Forrest does post on from time to time. The thrill of the chase is over. From Forrest Fenn on June 6, 2020 at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. The treasure has been found. I don't know why I'm so excited. I didn't find it, but I'll tell you what, it's exciting because I've been involved in it for so long. And I'm sure you're excited too if you've been involved in it. You're either disappointed or excited, or you never thought it was there to begin with. I know there's a lot of people that think that he was just trying to get people out to enjoy the outdoors and discover nature, and that was going to be his legacy. But yeah, the treasure has been found. It was under a canopy of stars in the lush, forested vegetation of the Rocky Mountains and had not moved from the spot where I hid it more than 10 years ago. I do not know the person who found it, which means he wasn't probably familiar with them as a searcher that had contacted him, because a number of searchers do contact him and try to share their solves with him, me included, and sometimes he responds to people. But he says that... But the poem in his book led them to the precise spot, and he had always said that. I congratulate the thousands of people who participated in the search and hope they will continue to be drawn by the promise of other discoveries. So the search is over. Look for more information and photos in the coming days for us. That's awesome. How cool is that? All right, let's head on over to the chat room so I can get back to you guys here. Sorry, I did this so quick tonight. I didn't pull anything together. And I'm watching the live chat come across. Carlos, Aircraft Mechanics, good to see you. Yeah, it is a bummer. Sure was a lot of fun out there putting things together, guessing, sharing information. Not too much, right? That was the thing. As searchers, we would share information, but we wouldn't share too much information. We wouldn't let anybody in on our solves and such, and that was always a lot of fun. I even had some coworkers that I ended up discovering, like some suppliers of mine that were suppliers of mine in the construction industry. And once we learned that we were each searchers of this Forrest Fenn treasure, that gave us something else to talk about. So, Scott Sanford, good to see you. What are we going to do now? I know, Scott, do you have a treasure you can go out there and put somewhere? Somebody's got to go bury something else, right? That's what my wife was telling me tonight, because she's been giving me hints and her ideas also, and has really been involved in it. Came with me on my very first search, which you can see on my channel. It's one of my very first videos I ever put out here on the channel. So if you go back and search my videos and sort by date as oldest, like the third video in or second video in, you're going to see a Forrest Fenn video where I actually went up to Wyoming, up near Pinedale, Wyoming, and searched an area off the Green River for it. And I revealed my solve to you and everything like that to show you how I took it step by step. And that was my very first, I call it my ignorant search, because boy, I really thought I had it. I thought enough of it that I took my whole family on Easter Sunday and drove 8 hours north up into Wyoming from Colorado to go look for this darn treasure in grizzly bear country and everything else. And, really thought I had it nailed down. Of course, that's the way you get as a searcher. You really get these solves in your head that you really think fit. And every time you hear some new clue or some new hint come out and it destroys your solve, you get disillusioned and go after some other solve, and you're trying not to make your solve fit the poem, trying to be purist with the poem, but it always has been an incredible thing. Let me see if I can pull up Forrest Fenn's poem here. For those of you that are not familiar with it, give me a second. And I'll read it to you if you're not familiar with it. Yeah. So here's Forrest's poem that he wrote in his book, The Thrill of the Chase. 10 years ago, buried this treasure chest, which is the picture on the thumbnail, in case you're wondering. There's actually some better pictures out there on the internet of it. If you go look, the golden frog is shown, and then there's all kinds of stories about that golden frog and the silver bracelet with the stones in it that he won in a pool game or something like that. Just some great stories surrounding this treasure chest legend. But more than just the treasure legends, which there's tons of treasure legends out there, right? Tons and tons. This is a more modern treasure story, only 10 years old or so, that was capable of being found. And that's right. It's been found. It's been found. So here's Forrest's poem. He said, in this poem, there are 9 clues, and if followed in order, will lead you. He just said there's 9 clues in this poem, and if you follow them correctly, it'll lead you to the treasure chest. And later on, he said that they were in consecutive order, and he said they're continuous and all this stuff. So here's what it says. I don't know how many times I've read this poem. I can probably recite it by heart, but I decided to pull it up here so I don't get anything wrong with it. As I have gone alone in there, and with my treasures bold, I can keep my secret where, and hint of riches new and old. Begin it where warm waters halt, and take it in the canyon down. Not far, but too far to walk, put in below the home of Brown. From there it's no place for the meek, the end is ever drawing nigh. There'll be no paddle up your creek, just heavy loads in water high. If you've been wise and found the blaze, look quickly down your quest to cease, but tarry scant with marvel gaze, just take the chest and go in peace. So why is it that I must go and leave my trove for all to seek? The answer I already know. I've done it tired, and now I'm weak. So hear me all and listen good. Your effort will be worth the cold. If you are brave and in the wood, I give you title to the gold. Forrest Fenn. Amazing. He said he spent a long time putting that poem together. He's quite a character. If you don't, if you get a chance to look up information on Forrest Fenn, you will definitely see what a character he was. Vietnam Air Force pilot, shot down 1 or 2 times. I can't really remember that part about him, but art dealer, art collector, had a gallery in New Mexico. Has done, archaeological digs, very into old ancient Indian artifacts. Supposedly has, I think, Sitting Bull's peace pipe and a lot of other cool artifacts that are just pretty amazing. So if you get a chance to read up on Forrest Fenn, definitely do that. Let me head back over to the chat. What am I missing here? What am I missing in the chat room? Sorry, I haven't been looking down much. Dirt Devil Detecting Adventures. What is up? Good to see you, man. Chad Justin. Yep. Yeah, let me see what you said there, Chad. Let's not feel too much defeat in this amazing adventure coming to an end. I highly recommend we move on to the golden owl hunt. You're right. Everyone, go look up information on the golden owl hunt. That is another active hunt that's still going on. It's buried in the 90s. It still hasn't been found. That is true. We can definitely switch our focus to that. I've read about that, but I haven't put any kind of thoughts together on it. So looking forward to reading more about that, Chad, for sure. Mr. Terry Solomon, how are you, sir? What an amazing night. Are you kidding me? I don't know how I feel like, right? Because I've been so intimate with this. And I guarantee you there's a lot of us out there that were claimed to be searchers of this treasure hunt feel the same way. Just an amazing sense of not even personal accomplishment, just accomplishment that somebody out there was able to piece it together. And now the excitement comes, the excitement to try to find out the information of where it was. And then we're all going to be like, oh, of course, right? Of course, that makes 100%. Or like, wow, we were way off. You know what I mean? I remember that my very first solve, the video that you can go earlier if you sort my videos to the earliest videos, the oldest videos on my channel, you'll find the only Forrest Fenn search video that I put out. And I've been meaning to do a follow-up, but I just haven't. But I remember that I really thought it had to do with, back then, this is 3 years ago now, right? I really thought it had to be, has something to do with the Green River, because for a number of reasons. And if you go watch that video, it'll be very evident as to why I felt that. I spell out my entire solve to you step by step and why I thought it. Plus tied in a lot of things he had said. He mentioned 5,000 and 10,200 feet, and I really thought that meant the Green River, because the Green River starts as it comes out of the glacier and comes out of the reservoir where the actual Green River starts. The elevation up that mountain range right there is 10,200 feet, and where the Green River ends down near the connection with the Colorado River, it's 5,000 feet elevation right there. So I really thought that spelled out the Green River. Plus, it's a mecca for fly fishermen, and everyone knew he was a fly fisherman and loved it. So, hey, thanks, Tony. Thanks for posting it. So I really thought that was it. And then from there on, you can watch the video and check out the solve for yourself. But since then, I'm telling you, my thoughts have changed 100% and have changed numerous times over the years. And like I said earlier, this year, just over the past few months, there's been a number of searchers that have had some one-on-one talks with Forrest. Cynthia, Cal, K-Pro, all these people that had information from having talks with Forrest that really released a lot of eye-opening information for searchers, stuff we had never heard of before. Stuff that turned all of our solves right on their ear, A lot of people that maybe didn't have where warm waters halt as actually being a geothermal place. Some things he said recently maybe has you thinking that, and maybe it is an actual warm spring, hot spring, or some kind of geothermal temperature of water, thing. So, boy, my warm waters halt, Nick Molnar, how you doing? My warm waters halt has changed over the years. Crazy. One of my solves was up in Leadville, Colorado. I can tell you that now. It's been solved. It's been found. Nick, if you're just joining us, if you know anything about the Forrest Fenn treasure, it has been found. It's been released earlier by Forrest Fenn himself, a statement that says it has been found. South Carolina relic hunters, good to see you. But yeah, exciting time for treasure hunters all across the world, that even people across, in Germany and across the pond and outside the United States have been searching for this treasure and contemplating the poem and trying to solve that poem. Yeah, it's just crazy. But so I had a solve put together for Leadville in Colorado, and so a few things led me that way. Yeah, too late, Tony. Now we're heading to Leadville on Friday, and I'm not going to be able to search anymore. But at one point I thought that maybe, I was thinking, okay, well, the search has got to start. He came out and said the first clue is begin at where warm waters halt. And he said, and if you don't have that, you have nothing. So I started thinking, well, what could warm waters halt? And I've changed my thinking all kinds of ways. Part of me was saying, once upon a time, he once said, somebody asked him to describe what warm meant to him, and he said calm. And so I was like, okay, well, it could be where the calm waters halt and turn into rapids on a river, because in the poem, he's also using a lot of rafting terminology, like put in and no paddle up your creek and all kinds of stuff. So I thought, okay, well, to keep with that rafting theme, begin at where warm waters halt would be where calm waters halt. That means where rapids begin, and it changed from calm water to rapids. And then from there, follow the rest of the poem down. And maybe the put in below the Homer Brown was actually a rafting put in, and you start that location, which is, after the warm waters halt, right? So I had thought that way for a while. Then eventually it was like, okay, warm waters halt could also be like where civilization of a town stops. Like in a town nowadays, you have, in the current 10, especially in the last 10 years, you have conditioned water with water heaters, and people have the ability to heat water and warm water up and take warm baths and use hot water in their homes. So it could just be the edge of a mountain town. But what mountain town? What mountain town? I also thought that first stanza had something to do with a mining town. Right. I currently, I didn't think there was any clues in the first stanza, but I did once upon a time Because if you think about this, like I come from a mining background, right? I'm a gold prospector, treasure hunter. So I do a lot of gold prospecting. And so I think about the history of gold prospecting a lot. And so think about this. As I have gone alone in there and with my treasures bold, I can keep my secret where and hint of riches new and old. To me, that sounds like an old miner that's coming into a town to go to the assay office with his gold dust or his gold thing from his mining claim. And he's coming alone with maybe his mule or something in from his claim because he doesn't want to let a lot of people in to know where his claim was, right? And he's got his treasures bold, and he keeps his secrets as to where his claim is and where he found this treasure at, where he found this gold at. And he, turns in his gold and gets his money at the assay office, goes to the saloon, and he's hinting of riches new and old. They sit around talking about old claims, new claims, who's hitting what, where they're hitting, telling false fairy tales, big fish stories, all that stuff. So my mind was kind of going around that. Since that time, I've let that all go. Since Forrest said that begin at Warm Waters Halt is the first clue. So then I started thinking about Warm Waters Halt, right? And I was doing all that. I've been driving myself crazy with everything he said. Recently he was telling somebody who had told him, I think it was Cynthia, and they had told him, maybe it was Capro, that of what their solve was for Warm Waters Halt, and he asked her, did you stick your toe in it? Or did you dip your big toe in it? And said, I can guarantee you that area you're talking about is not warm water. So, releasing that kind of information out there really drives everyone to believe that's some kind of geothermal area. So then once I started thinking about that, I started thinking about the end of the chase, right? The end, where the chest actually is. And basically, if you've been wise and found the blaze, look quickly down your quest to cease. At that point, it's over. At that point, your quest is over. You've found the chest. So from that point up, I started to work the solve backwards. And I'm thinking about, okay, let's think about this. If you're Forrest Fenn, let's think about it logically, that he always said he knew this area that he wanted to go lay down and die. And that was his initial. So for those of you who don't know the story, Forrest developed cancer about 10 years ago or more. And he wasn't given much chance to live. And his father had kind of went out and taken his own life on his own terms. And Forrest, being Forrest and having that influence of his father, decided that's what he wanted to do too. He was just going to go lay down and die somewhere. But he had all this money and he had all these gems, all this stuff. So he went out and he searched for this, I think it was Romanian bronze box that he was going to fill all of his treasures into and put his biography in there and take it out, lay down over it, lay down next to it, whatever, and then die. And years later, they would find his bones and they'd find this treasure chest. That was his idea. That's where this all came from. That's how this all started. Well, then he got better. And he had this box. He had it all packed up. He had it all ready to go. So then he started to have this idea about create this, now that he was cured, he was in remission, and he wasn't going to go anywhere. He decided to create this treasure hunt. He wrote a book called The Thrill of the Chase, and he published this poem in there. And he started to write this poem. He said it took him a long time, wrote this book. He crafted it like an architect, and he really did. So I started thinking about that process, like how would we do that? So you have if you're Forrest Fenn and you have this idea of where you want to lay down and die, he probably didn't have the 6 foot by 2 foot section of where exactly he wanted to lay down and die picked out. Or maybe he did. Maybe he knew the mound or the bush or the area that he wanted to do that. And he had that in his head. But at some point he had to have gone there. And at some point he's got to figure out, where am I going to put this 10 by 10 inch box full of this treasure now that I'm going to hide it for a treasure hunt? He knows the area that he wants to go down, lay down and die. It's this special place to him, right? But where's he going to put this 10 by 10 box? He's got to find a way. So did he do that when he actually went out there to hide it? And then did he invent all that when he got there? Did he look for a place when he got there? Did he create a place when he got there? One of the things he recently said that he's never said before, he said the area in which the treasure chest was hidden was always in sunlight. It was constantly in sunlight. but the actual treasure box itself wasn't. So that means it's concealed somehow, stacked with rocks over it, hidden with brush, hidden with something, hidden with wood, or who knows what. He didn't say he buried it. He didn't say it was buried. He didn't say it wasn't buried. But he did recently say that the treasure chest itself was not in constant sunlight. So that could have been in a culvert, you know what I mean? A water culvert. He always said that he knew the treasure was wet. He said he knows the treasure's wet, but it's not underwater, right? Which means that it's exposed to the elements somehow, or some kind of rain or snowfall or something. So I'm thinking about backwards, right? Like, okay, so I'm going to hide this 10-inch treasure chest in this area I know. And then I parked my car over there. So I'm going to work the poem back to where I parked my car. Right. From there, it's no place for the meek. From there is where he parked his car. It's no place for the meek. The end is ever drawing nigh. There'll be no paddle up your creek, just heavy loads and water high. So, I'm working my way back. Now I'm at his car. And then I'm looking out on a map further to try to find basically some kind of feature that's some kind of warm water that would allow me then to take the canyon down to this area where I parked my car. So taking it backwards, that's where my solves have been going lately, is working it backwards and concentrating on this where warm waters halt as a way that would lead me down to where he actually parked his car, and then from there lead me to where the actual chest was hidden. So I haven't been paying attention to the chat. I've just been chatting my brains out here. Dave Bradshaw, how you doing, man? Dow's site. For those of you that are coming in late, let me go ahead and head on over here to Dow's site. Here it is. Again, if you're just joining us, the hunt for Forrest Fenn's treasure is over. Per Forrest Fenn himself, he released this statement on Dow's site earlier today at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on June 6. It says, "The treasure has been found. It was under a canopy of stars in the lush forested vegetation of the Rocky Mountains and had not moved from the spot where I hid it more than 10 years ago. I do not know the person who found it, which tells me that he wasn't familiar with them as a searcher," right? A lot of searchers made themselves known to him, and he became close to some of them without giving them too much information, right? But it says he didn't know this person. But the poem in my book led him to the precise spot. I congratulate the thousands of people who participated in search and hope they will continue to be drawn by the promise of other discoveries. So the search is over. Look for more information and photos in the coming days for us. And that is just absolutely amazing, man. How exciting, right? If you're a Forrest Fenn searcher out there, you're probably excited and disappointed and really looking forward to see what kind of information comes out about where that darn treasure chest was hidden. I know there's still going to be skeptics, and a lot of people are still going to be, let me get back over to my scene so we can get out of here. A lot of people are still going to be skeptical that it was never there and that he only did this to sell books. I know that's a lot of thoughts of people out there, that he only did this to sell books because he's released numerous books. I don't believe that at all. A lot of people also believe that he did this just to get people out to enjoy the outdoors, to get off the couch. And he's made no secret about that. He said that is absolutely a goal, but that the chest definitely is out there and that this poem will definitely lead you to it. So Terry Carter, great to see you, my friend. Thanks for coming in and saying hello. What do you think of this, Terry? Isn't this crazy? Boy, get some gas in your car. You got some traveling to do, my friend. You need to start doing some investigating on this one. Kep Valley Diggers, man, what's up? Good to see you. General Dighole, hey, man, what's up? Good to see you. Just saying hi to some people in here looking through. Harborside Pizza. All right, man. Sorry, this is coming in late. I had to go live, man. Are you kidding me? This was exciting for me. I was going to go end my night tonight, Saturday night. Got my weekly dirt show coming out tomorrow. And I just said, you know what? I'm going to go live. I got to go live and talk about this. It's such a huge event, at least in my world it is. So I thought I'd come out and talk to you guys about it. How about it? How many of you out there are searchers in the chat room right there? James Brown, he has anxiety now. You see how excited I am? What time is it for me right here? It's 11:30 at night, and you can tell how excited I am, right? Now, part of it is I drank some coffee earlier when I don't normally drink coffee in the evening, but I had this iced coffee. It was really good. In fact, I think I need some water here. But yeah, man, I'm excited. Oh, good. Hey, Dragonfly digs. Yeah, sorry, didn't know you were into it either. I've been wanting to release videos about it because I haven't released videos about it for 3 years, and I've really been wanting to update people on it. And I was talking with Tony about it. I go, man, I got all these Forrest Fenn videos planned. I'm just going to hit it hard and hit the scene with it. And, I've kind of been one of these closeted Forrest Fenn searchers out there, but really passionate about it. And so it's good to know you're part of it. I'm sure that you are excited as I am to take a look at what comes out from Forrest in the next few days. Hopefully he released some stuff soon. Here's the deal, right? Everyone as a searcher would have to ask themselves, and Forrest posed this question to all searchers out there. He said, if you find it, if you're the one that finds it, he wanted you to, and here's a good question. Do you guys think it was found recently? Because he had advised that once you find it, sit on it for 30 days. He said, take 30 days and really think about what you want to do. Do you want to say anything about it, or do you not want to say anything about it? Now, he always guessed that whoever would find it, because of the nature of searchers in general, that they would definitely want people to know that they had found it, and they would definitely release that information. But he said maybe somebody you wouldn't want to. Maybe you wouldn't want the IRS involved. Maybe you wouldn't want legal things involved. Again, that's still yet to be seen as to what happens with this treasure and with the legalities of where it was found as far as the land use goes, and also any kind of repercussions that Forrest has built into it based on his release of the gold in the chest, but maybe not other things based on I give you title to the gold. So thanks, Christine Wilbur. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, thought my solve was right on. Yeah, I was too. I mean, that's the way you get, though. I mean, it was crazy. My wife thought I was crazy. My stepson Nolan that came with me that day. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you can see a video of mine. If you go search my videos to the oldest video, you can find my Forrest Fenn video where I went to Wyoming and searched for the treasure and talked about my solve completely. Back then, again, I call it really naive because it was really early on. I hadn't been searching for that long, but I was so convinced that I uprooted my family on Easter Sunday and skipped meeting with the family and headed out and drove 8 hours north to Wyoming, rented a hotel room, and went out and walked forever down this thing because when we got there was snow everywhere. So we had planned on parking our car not too far from the location of the wood piles that I thought the treasure chest was in. If you've been braving in the wood, right? I thought there was this old collapsed cabin that would have took hundreds of years for the wood to actually deteriorate. So I thought that was actually where it was located. But when we got there, it was all snowed out. So we had to hike in on foot. So we walked like a mile in, a mile out. We weren't prepared for that, but we did it and we had a good time with it, and we couldn't find it. So it was a lot of fun though. And it really gave us the desire to keep looking, to keep searching. Yeah. Hey, River Sticks Outdoors. Hey, good to see you. Said that it was a goal of his to go on for some time. Yeah. A lot of people, Tony and I at 5280 Adventures, we've had a lot of information about it. I'm going to read through here. Kep Valley, only heard a little bit about it for this. Yep. Monica's son was so into it that he said, let's go get a motorhome and hit the road. I know, man. That's the way it is. Murray Fisher, hey, welcome. Everyone, there's a lot of people hinting that they think it's in Colorado. I hope so, man. My whole thought recently over the past years has changed from Wyoming to Colorado. I never was in Montana too much with my solves and never in New Mexico. But I'm sure that we'll find out soon. And I sure hope that it comes out that it was in Colorado. That'd just be cool. I'm going to die if it's anywhere near some of my solves where I'm going to absolutely die. But oh well, I'm just glad somebody found it. And how many people he's turned on to getting out in the outdoors and learning about how to be prepared to be out in the outdoors, about bear spray and about, wilderness preparedness and stuff. He really has done a lot. I mean, there's been a lot of people that have gone out there real stupidly, and unfortunately, some people have paid with their lives. I don't want to make light of that, but a lot of people have learned a lot about being prepared. to be out in the wilderness, to be out, because Forrest never went on the trails. He always went off trail. He just didn't like following the rules with that very much. I did think about Montana. I did think about Yellowstone. A lot of people have been searching Yellowstone. It became an issue there, actually. Talked with my buddy Matt Howell over at Gone Digging, and he used to work in Yosemite for quite a number of years. Excuse me. Jake McGilvray, Jake McGilvray. Hey man, good to see you. Welcome to the channel, bud. Yeah, channel's usually about metal detecting and treasure hunting. Forrest Fenn's treasure was the ultimate treasure hunt. I haven't posted too much about it, and I was actually just getting ready to release a bunch of videos. As a matter of fact, I got 3 scripts written that I've been fine tuning with Forrest Fenn videos and just never pulled the trigger. I was actually going to be a guest on the flip side with Sean from New Mexico before he disappeared this last time. I understand he's back now, but he was going to have me on. I was going to be his guest the night that he decided that he was just going to kind of shut down for a while. So I've been involved in the chase for quite a while, but never really public about it. Except for those that know me since the channel started about 3 or 4 years ago, because that was one of the first videos I put out. If you find something again, Nick, he actually has hidden some other things. He makes these bells. I forget what they're made out of. Somebody else knows in the chat room right there. Traveling Troy Detectress. It is late. What's up, buddy? Treasure, Forrest Fenn's treasure has been found. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the live stream. Southern Relics up late. How you doing there, man? Hey, thanks, man, with Meryl. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Hey, we'd like to have you on too. I'll get a hold of you soon. We'd definitely like to have you guys on as guests. But yeah, he's actually made these jars, these bell jars, and he's hidden poems and stuff inside of them. And he's buried them all over the place, and he just won't say where they're at. He's not giving any clues about it. He's that kind of guy, right? He wants somebody to be excavating some dig site someday, 1,000 years from now, 100 years from now, and find one of these bell jars that has his biography inside of it and stuff, and like discover about him and learn about him at that point. So that's his way of extending his legacy. You know what I mean? Over the years, I know that he's made different comments about how it's getting a little tedious for him to keep this up. And like I said, a lot of people have done some bad things. They've, broken into places and they harassed his family and his grandkids and all kinds of stuff, which isn't cool. And I'm sure that the family has just had it up to here with it. But Forrest, to his honor, would not end it. Even after people had passed away looking for it and been sued and tried to sue, and even the government in New Mexico tried to shut him down one time, and he held true. Now, he came out and said then that it wasn't associated with the Rio Grande, which killed a lot of people's souls. But I think he did that to try to appease the government in New Mexico and the governor and the police chief there in Santa Fe, so that, kind of appease them a little bit, because he wasn't going to end the chase. It's one of the most interesting things about this treasure hunt has been learning about Forrest Fenn. And if you don't know about Forrest Fenn, go in and read about him. Look him up on the internet, Google him, and absolutely interesting character. Even today, just how his mind works, how he created that poem, how he crafted that poem, just absolutely amazing. Right, yeah. So I'm just reading through some of this. Who found the treasure? Flynn. We don't know yet. Forrest Fenn made a comment earlier on Del Neitzel's site, his blog, that it had been found. Again, let me just pull you guys over there in case you're just joining us. That it was found that he didn't know the person who found it. Obviously, the person must have contacted him and showed him pictures. And there were he always said that, people always said, how would you know if it's found? And he had said there are certain things in it that he won't release, that he will know, that the person can identify, that he will know that they found it. He always said that the only thing he wants back is this silver bracelet that he won, like in a pool game. That there's a whole story around that, how this Native American fashioned this silver and these turquoise beads into this silver bracelet, and he put that into the chest, and he kind of wishes he didn't. And he'd like to have that back because it's sentimental value to him. Used to belong to a friend of his that he actually won it like a pool game or a poker game or something like that. I don't know all the stories, but yeah, so they says he found it. He didn't say exactly where. He didn't say exactly who. He said there's more coming in the coming days, photos and such. I'm sure they're getting all that taken care of. So either it was found very recently, and they're just going to get everything together, or they are going to, or it was found a while ago, and he's just made some kind of agreement to get some kind of legal things in line before things are more information is released. But I think that, you know, probably has a legal obligation to let people know that it's been found, if it's been found, because God forbid anybody goes out and, you know, passes away or gets killed trying to find it after he's releasing. He needs to probably release that information as soon as possible. Excuse me. All right. Let me go back over to the chat room, see how you guys are doing. Up late with me. I appreciate you hanging out. Jason Nightingale, man, what's up? Who in the world's Forrest Fenn anyhow? You're right. Forrest Fenn. He's an old man. Forrest Fenn was a Vietnam Air Force pilot. Many, many missions, shot down a couple times, I think. A pretty valiant guy. Grew up in Yellowstone area. Outdoor fisherman, adventurer, archaeologist, art dealer, art collector. He's like a Indiana Jones type of guy, but I'm telling you, he a very interesting character. Hopefully you were just kidding around. If not, but that's who he is. And he wrote a book over 10 years ago called The Thrill of the Chase. And in that book, he put a poem that he said, if followed, in the poem, there's 9 clues in that poem, 6 stanza, 24 line poem. And if followed would lead you directly, if deciphered and then followed would lead you directly to the treasure chest. I'm trying to find, let me see if I can find a really good picture of his treasure chest, one that some people put out. Give me a second here. Because there's a better picture of it than the one I used for my thumbnail tonight. I just threw that thumbnail together really quick here. Yeah, so let me just kind of bring this up. Okay, let me head over here to the web. There we go. All right, so right above my head, right there, right above my face is a picture of the chest, supposedly, as it is. And you can see at the very top, there's that golden frog. It always said that he put, I think it was like 200 and something gold double eagles in there, coins. You can see some coin rolls in there. There's some of the gold nuggets in there were over £1. Just a ton of gold nuggets in there. You can see a lot of it. There was a lot of jewels, rubies, sapphires, jade. There was old, I forget the Indian tribe, either Anasazi or some other type of tribe, necklaces and brooch sort of jewelry and such. It was just a lot of stuff thrown in there. He also had a jar in there with his biography. And pretty exciting. This box itself was worth $25,000. I think it was a Romanian bronze chest. He searched this out and he got this chest because he wanted it to be weatherproof. He knew it would be weatherproof. It would be getting wet. But yeah, absolutely cool thing. I'm so happy that people were able to find this chest. Somebody was able to find it. I don't know if it was a group. I don't know what was going on with it, but yeah, absolutely amazing news tonight that the Forrest Fenn treasure hunt is finally over. Somebody has finally found it. So in the next coming days, we have that to look forward to. Forrest coming out and sort of releasing names. I don't know if he can release names. He's going to tell kind of, hopefully, I don't know what he's going to do, man. Are you kidding? Oldies and goodies. Al, how you doing? I don't know what he's going to do. I don't know if he's going to say who did it. Full Metal Digger. Dave, how you doing there, buddy? What time is it there in Germany? Dave, all the way from Germany, Full Metal Digger in the house. But I tell you, I hope that he comes out and at least says the location so that all of us can compare and see how far off we were or how close we were. I tell you, Al doesn't believe it's in Colorado. Everyone has their own opinion. Another reason why I thought it was Leadville, you remember one of the things he said that I mentioned earlier today was that the treasure was between 5,000 and 10,200 feet. And I always wondered why he listed 10,200 feet. And if you look up Leadville, Colorado, and image and image search that. You might be able to find it. I don't know if it's still up or not. But the city sign for Leadville used to say, "Welcome to Leadville, great living at 10,200 feet." And I always wondered why he put 10,200 feet in there in that statement. That's kind of an odd cap, don't you think? I mean, why not just take it up to 15,000 feet? Rocky Mountains, get up pretty tall. So, yeah, I always wonder why he said that. So that's another reason why I was focusing on Leadville, is it used to have that sign, "Welcome to Leadville, living great at 10,200 feet." And I thought, man, that's crazy. Yeah. And so but then I was also thinking the Green River, which you can check in my video on my channel about the Forrest Fenn hunt that I did, that I released, as to why I thought it was the Green River. But I'm telling you, my wife had me really looking at the Glenwood Springs area. So good morning. Good morning, Dave. Good morning there in Germany. Awesome. Yeah, I know. Nick, I can't wait to hear about it either. It's absolutely crazy. Things still looking good, sounding good here on the stream. I did this so quick. I threw this thing up so fast. I just wanted to go live, man. I just wanted to go live. I know it's late. I'm tired. Well, I'm not so tired. I'm pretty jacked up about this thing now, but I didn't want to wait. I just wanted to go and talk about it and release the video. And again, we're not going to know much for the next couple of days, and maybe I'll do another one of these once he releases more information, so we can all get together and talk about it and be like, "Oh man, how close were you? Oh, I was real close, or oh, I was way off." Again, I had solves in Wyoming, I had solves in Colorado, a little bit of talk about Montana, but no, never really. I'd never really looked in New Mexico much. That's all. I never really did that. Loveland, yeah, I'm not too far from Loveland. I drive through Loveland on the way to work every day. Hey, thanks for putting the link in there, Tony. Thanks for staying up late with me, man. Yeah. Digging with Cruzy. Hey, man, how you doing? Welcome. Thanks, Terry. I appreciate that. Yep. Pretty interesting, right, Terry? Man, I mean, for those of you who aren't familiar with Terry Carter's channel, get a chance, go over and check his channel out. Terry talks about a lot of treasure legends and legends of some pretty fantastic things. He does a ton of research, interviews some amazing people. Terry, I was talking to my wife about you tonight. I said, remember that guy we had dinner with in Denver a little while back? And I said, I bet he's really going to be interested in this, because I'm sure he's probably, dug into this. And I think you and I maybe at dinner talked about Forrest Fenn a little bit. I know that you and I talked a lot about Jim Ferriello, rest in peace. Unfortunately, he passed, and he was another great, historic treasure hunter and had a ton of information. I didn't get a chance to go to his service, unfortunately, with all the COVID stuff happening and stuff. But yeah, I was really thinking about you earlier tonight, Terry. I was talking to my wife about you. I bet you're really interested in digging into this. Yeah. Next time you're in Colorado, come on by. Jesse Payne, hey, what's up, man? Thanks for letting me know. Working good, says Jeff with Smith's Gold. What about it, Jeff? You a searcher, or is this kind of something you? What side of the fence are you on? You think it was a hoax, or do you think it was actually out there? There's a lot of people that kind of, don't think that it was out there. They think everyone was just wasting their time, but. Yeah, it got you outdoors. It got you thinking, got your mind thinking about how to solve this. It's crazy, man. This thing has been crazy. It will drive you nuts. And for those of you that know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. It will drive you insane, this thing. Because you have the poem. And if anybody wants me to read the poem again, just put number 1 in the chat, and I'll read it again. But I don't think you want to be bored with that. You just let me know. You let me know. But I'll tell you what. You read the poem and it's one thing, right? And then you have all the things he's said over the years. And then you have his books, and he said there's subtle hints in his books. And then a lot of people really took that to mean more than I think it meant. And they were really trying to justify it. Some people out there are really trying to say you had to speak some kind of weird Anasazi Indian language and to be able to understand it. And that these things coincided with some geometric figures that were back in some other book. And I mean, people have really gone off the deep end, in my opinion. That's just my opinion, with their solves. But it just shows you how much you can read into this. I'm telling you. Yeah, all he's in good. He said, 80-year-old sick man. So a lot of people, a lot of people, a lot of people have a lot of doubts about Forrest Fenn and his truthfulness. Some people think that he never really hit it, or that he hit it somewhere real close by or whatever. I mean, there's been so many things he's said. He said so many things that you can read into it. He said some of the things that stuck with me is he said that, especially when I went to search for it for the first time in that video, he said, all you'll need when you go to find it, he said he parked his car and he took 2 trips to hide the treasure because it was too heavy. It weighs 42 pounds with the treasure in it. He did 1 trip there. He did 2 trips because he had to split it in half. So I don't know if he took the box first and then took the treasure in the bag second and then deposited it, or if he split it up, or if he dumped some of the treasure out, or what he did. But he said he did 2 trips, took his car there, parked his car, and walked to where he hid the treasure. And he made 2 trips, and he did it both in an afternoon before it got dark. So he said, he said, bring a sandwich. So here's what he said, and I'll tell you how people how people have interpreted some of this stuff. He said, bring a sandwich and bring a flashlight, right? So in other words, that means that you're going to be hiking. In my opinion, that meant you're going to be hiking a little bit. Bring a sandwich. You might get hungry on the trail or on the path that you take to go find this place. It's not going to be real close to the car, right? Because he didn't say I did 2 trips in an hour. He said I did 2 trips in an afternoon. But he's also an 80-year-old man, so it's not like he's hiking up a steep grade. And he said, don't do anything an 80-year-old man wouldn't do. But some people said, oh no, sandwich means this in this language, and so you have to reference this stick, and it's actually a stick, and then this stick actually is that, you know what I mean? So like that's the way you get. That's the way you get. Some people really go down that rabbit hole. You know what I mean? Yep, it says between New Mexico and Montana, somewhere north of Santa Fe, and all the way up through Montana to the Canadian border, not into Canada. But into the Canadian border. So that was, and it was in the Rocky Mountains somewhere. So, yeah, so, it could have been anywhere, man. It could have been anywhere. And when are you actually in the Rocky Mountains? When does that start? Is the foothills the Rocky Mountains? Well, yeah, I think it is. A lot of people leaned on the fact that he said that it was a place he wanted to lay down and die. K, what in the house? What's up? Yeah, people overanalyzed it, and then the people that overanalyzed it, Monica would say that people that are too simple are too simple. You know what I mean? Like K-Watt said, he wasn't going to make it simple. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe to him it's simple because maybe it's very straightforward. There are those out there that just don't want to believe that. They want to believe it's a very complex because he wouldn't have made it simple. Therefore, it has to be a complex thing. Therefore, it has to be, he's also said, don't discount any word in the poem. And so people have taken that to mean they've got to decipher and dissect every word or every noun, every word in the poem, and especially every noun in the poem, and come up with all kinds of solves around it. I think one of the biggest mistakes us as solvers do, as searchers do with our solves, is we try to make our solve fit the poem instead of letting the poem dictate the solve. You know what I mean? So we get an idea, right? Like my miner, right? I read the part about that first part of the poem I talked about earlier, and I came up with a mining town because it made me imagine a miner. So I've got this imaginary image in my head, and so I'm, that part must mean this because of my image. You know what I mean? So I'm making my idea fit the poem instead of truly letting the poem fit my solve. Yeah. Thrill of the adventure for treasure. Yep. Thrill of the chase, thrill of the adventure. I'm just reading through here. Jesse Payne, how you doing? Yeah, Jesse, that is a great, I guarantee you know what? I guarantee you that's going to happen, man. When he releases it, there's going to be people who will be like, man, I walked right over it. Now, for those of us that are searchers, we know what Forrest has said. Forrest has said searches, he knows because of what they've sent him on email, that searchers have been within 200 feet of the treasure, but have gone right past it. Now, if you're a searcher, wouldn't that drive you friggin' crazy? Wouldn't that drive you nuts? I know it drove me nuts. You know my Wyoming solve, the video I put out? What if I was 200 feet from it? Because I sent Forrest that solve. I sent him a copy of the video. What if he watched me on that video walk right past it? and I went too far? Who knows, right? Probably not, of course. But he knows, he says from people sending him his solves, that he knows some searchers have been within 200 feet of it, and they've gone right past it because they didn't know what they were looking for. So how that would just drive you nuts. So when the solve comes out, absolutely, Jesse, that's going to happen. People are going to be going crazy. They're going to be like, man, I was right there. I was right there. So I guess we'll see in the next few days. Hopefully, things will come out, and we'll know a lot more about this Forrest Fenn treasure. I'm telling you, it's been an amazing few years for me being involved in it. And I never gone into sort of the Forrest Fenn festival that they put together, Fenbury. I never did any of that. Mark Thomas, what is up? How you doing? And I never got that into it. I've only interacted with a few other searchers, kind of privately, not very much publicly. You know, I watched all the YouTube channels out there. You know, I watched Gypsy's Kiss, and I watched, cow lasers, right? And matter of fact, I was just getting ready to reach out to Mike and invite him to be a guest on Relics Radio also, because I wanted him to come on and talk about Forrest Fenn. I'm still going to reach out because I still think we have a lot to talk about. I think it would be a good guest for Relics Radio to come on and talk about the fact, especially once we know a little more about it. There's just a lot to share. I know he was on live earlier. Tony and I were watching that a little earlier. So were a lot of my other friends. My phone started blowing up, and are you watching? Yeah, I'm watching. And hasn't really gone around big time yet, but I think it will. I think once the news media gets a hold of it, definitely things are going to be popping for sure. Everyone's going to want to know where was it found. It's just been an amazing mystery for the last 10 years or so. Yeah, who's digging tomorrow? Digging with Cruzies wants to know. I think Tony's going out. He is going digging tomorrow. He went out today too. Him and Beth and Cindy went out today. I couldn't make it out. I couldn't make it out with them. Boy, I sure wanted to. I'm telling you, but I wasn't able to make it out. Yeah, absolutely, Monica. Big news for the treasure hunting community. But they went out, boy, and they found some really cool things on a new property. They got on a new property adjacent to the ranch we were on, and I'm looking forward to joining them. Maybe I'll get out with you this next Friday coming up, but can't make it tomorrow. Promised the wife I'd do some things around here. I got my weekly dirt video. Those of you who aren't familiar with my weekly dirt show, I put it on every Sunday where I bring you the best of what's going on in the metal detecting community. I try to show you a little bit of cool finds of what people are finding out there. I got some good ones for you tomorrow. And also introduce some channels and talk about giveaways and events coming up. And it's called the Weekly Dirt, and it's coming up tomorrow about 3 p.m. Mountain. You should definitely check that out. Well, that's about it, man. I about worn myself out with this excitement. Like I said, once he comes out with his information, I'll probably go live again, and we'll probably talk about it again. But yeah, send me an email. DK Scully's House of Thrillers. Hey, man, how you doing? Up late. Oh, are you on West Coast, Scully? Thanks for the support, man. I appreciate your support of the channel. Yeah, we're talking about Forrest Fenn. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but his treasure was found. People have been searching for his treasure forever. Yeah, I don't know, Jesse. It's interesting. I don't know if they would make a big reveal of it. It all depends, right? Like maybe the searcher doesn't, maybe the finder is saying, let's keep it as quiet as possible. I release these pictures. Don't put my name out there. You can go ahead and say where it was found. Maybe. I just don't know. I don't know. What would you do, Jesse, if you were the finder? Would you say scream it to the world, or would you be like, keep it quiet? You know what I mean? It's interesting. It is interesting. Yeah. So Scully, the treasure of Forrest Fenn. Forrest Fenn is a guy that buried a treasure chest that has about $2 million worth of gems and treasure. Let me show you a picture of it, and we'll go back over here to this thing and show you a picture of it. Here you go. Yeah, so right above my head there, that is a picture of a lot of the treasures that were put inside this treasure chest. And he went out and he didn't bury it. I'm sorry. He went out and he hid this somewhere in the Rocky Mountains between New Mexico and Montana, the Canadian border. And he wrote a poem. He wrote a poem, a 24-line, 6-stanza poem that, if deciphered, takes you right to it. And there's 9 clues in the poem, and he said if you can decipher it and find it. And people have been searching for it for 10 years plus. It's just been this huge treasure hunt, and it's been an amazing thing. I've been involved in it. Many people here in the chat have been involved in it. It's been absolutely amazing. Just go look up Forrest Fenn treasure, and you will learn all about it for sure. But it's been found. It was finally found. Forrest Fenn himself released a statement earlier today that it has finally been found. Crazy. Right. Hey, Dave, Full Metal Digger there. Yep. That's why Forrest himself said, if you find it, sit on it for 30 days and think about what your next steps are going to be. Either keep it quiet and then people continue to look for it out there, or reveal it and then maybe have to deal with the IRS. There's been a lot of talk over the past month about the legalities of people. Wes Robinson, hey, shout out to you, buddy. Good to see you. The legalities of people finding it, So think about it. There's forestry, federal forestry land. There's national forest. There's BLM land. There's private property. There's all this different stuff, right? And each land type has a different legality about abandoned treasure and about abandoned artifacts, and different artifact laws over the years that go into effect. So I'm sure before he could hide it to where he hid it, he had to look all that stuff up. And he's even said he consulted with lawyers for weeks about the legality of what he wanted to do before he did it. Another thing people have brought up lately is the fact that the poem basically just says, I give you title to the gold, and there's much more than gold inside that chest. So does that mean you get the gold, which is worth a pretty penny, or does that mean you get the chest and everything in it? I think he said some other things where he said, look, you get everything in it. He'd just like to have that silver bracelet back, but who knows what's going to happen? Good question. All those questions are definitely questions on everyone's mind now of what happens to the finder. Does Forrest have any rights to that treasure, to that property, since it was publicly published that he has it out there? Or does he forfeit it because of the type of land it was on? He never said if it was on public or private property. He never said that, what kind of land he put it on. But he did say, I think he was trying to point people in the right direction by saying he consulted with attorneys before he hit it. So chances are it's probably on BLM land. If I had to guess, somewhere on BLM land. So, you're right. Can you imagine, Tony, and the government getting involved? It could just be crazy. We'll see in the next few days. Hopefully that, we're gonna find out a lot more. See, Tony doubts it's on private land, but here you go, right? You got to think about what he said. He said, if you've been brave and in the wood, that's part of the poem, right? Let me read you the poem one more time. Sorry, we were getting ready to end it out, but I'm going to read the poem one more time. Give me just a second. Here's the poem. It's from Forrest Fenn from his book, The Thrill of the Chase. He said, in this poem of 6 stanzas and 24 lines, there are 9 clues, and if followed precisely, will lead you directly to the treasure. It's hidden somewhere in the Rocky Mountains between New Mexico, north of Santa Fe, up to the Canadian border in Montana, all the way through there, the whole Rocky Mountain range there. The poem reads, as I have gone alone in there, and with my treasures bold, I can keep my secret where, and hint of riches, new and old. Begin it where warm waters halt, and take it in the canyon down. Not far, but too far to walk, put in below the home of Brown. From there it's no place for the meek. The end is ever drawing nigh. There'll be no paddle up your creek, just heavy loads and water high. If you've been wise and found the blaze, look quickly down your quest to cease. But tarry scant with marvel gaze, just take the chest and go in peace. So why is it that I must go and leave my trove for all to seek? The answer I already know. I've done it tired, and now I'm weak. So hear me all and listen good. Your effort will be worth the cold if you are brave. And in the wood, I give you title to the gold. Forrest Fenn. And that hunt is now over. What an amazing thing. So he said a long time ago, let me go over here and show you this poem. He said a long time ago that the first clue is begin at where warm waters halt. So if you look at those 4 lines right there, begin and not put, right? Those 4 lines. A lot of people believe that those next 2 stanzas, just those 3 stanzas right there, are the whole solve is within those 3 stanzas right there. So people's general idea is like this: begin at where warm waters halt. That he said, if you don't have that, you have nothing. So begin at where warm waters halt. That's your starting point. You have to identify where warm waters halt. In recent times, he's kind of alluded that that's actually a geothermal area, a geothermal location. So whether that's a warm spring, hot spring, or something like that, I don't know. But he said there are plenty of places in the Rocky Mountains where warm waters halt, and most of them are above Santa Fe, New Mexico, north of Santa Fe in the Rocky Mountains. So you begin at where warm waters halt, and you take it in the canyon down. So obviously you're traveling down a canyon. That's the direction you're heading. Not far, but too far to walk. You got to figure out what that is. He said searchers have been within 200 feet of the treasure, but they've gone right past it. They've gone too far. So not far, but too far to walk. That some people think that's 10 miles. Some people think that's 2 miles. Okay, so you're down this canyon a couple miles. Put in below the Homer Brown. So in my solve for Leadville, right, Molly Brown lived in Leadville. Her husband lived in Leadville. So Molly Brown and her husband had a house in Leadville. So, and put in for me was almost like a rafting put in. Like I thought, okay, you're going to take it in the canyon down alongside the Arkansas River right there, not far, but too far to walk. Put in below the Homer Brown. So there is a rafting put in just below Leadville, which is to me was the Homer Brown. It's not too far from the town of Leadville. And starting point at that point would be my put in, the rafting put in. And from there, it's no place for the meek. From there, you're going to be doing something brave, or you're going to be doing something, going into the wilderness at that point or something like that. The end is ever drawing nigh. That means you're getting close to the end. You're getting close at that point. There'll be no paddle up your creek. And from there, so put in below the Homer Brown, I believe, is where he parked his car. Because from there, it's no place for the meek. In my mind and in my head recently, it's been like, okay, that's where you take off on his trek to actually final resting place of the treasure chest. The end is ever drawing nigh. You're close to the end. There'll be no paddle up your creek. Either that is a directional, of you're going to go up creek, or no paddle means it's a dry creek bed, or a shallow dry creek bed, or a gradual dry creek bed, something that's not too strenuous, but maybe is off the beaten path. Just heavy loads and water high. To me, that meant something like, large mountains and snow-capped mountains above you, heavy loads and water high, or maybe the heavy rapids further up the river. It could have been a lot of different things. Heavy loads and water high, large boulders up high. If you've been wise and found the blaze, to me, that blaze, I believe, is something that he left behind. Because look quickly down your quest to cease. You're there. When you've been wise and found the blaze, you're there. You're at the treasure, because all you have to do at that point is look quickly down and your quest to cease. At that point, you have found the treasure. So the blaze could have been a blaze like a trailblazing. It could have been an F that he put on a tree, or painted on a rock, or carved into a rock, or stacked a rock into the shape of an F, or some kind of blaze, some kind of indicator that you would have to notice, and you'd have to be wise to see it. There's a lot of people in Leadville, the wise, because it was the Collegiate Mountains, right? My solve was into the Collegiate Mountains, and it was part of the whole wise part of this poem. If you've been wise, part of the Collegiate Mountains, right? So that means if you've been wise, if you've been in the Collegiate Mountains, there near Leadville. Found the blaze, look quickly down, your quest to cease. You're there, you're at the treasure chest. But tarry scant with marvel glaze, that means don't hang around, don't dilly-dally. Now, a lot of people thought that meant it was on private property. Because don't mess around, don't hang out, don't just take the chest and go in peace. Tarry scant with marvel gaze, just take the chest and go in peace. That means don't cause attention. Don't hang out there. Don't, woohoo, jump up and down and cause a big scene. Take the chest and go in peace. The rest of it, I think that really wasn't, too much, maybe just some follow-on clues or some hints, but wasn't really, I believe at that point that the hunt is over. You've got the chest in your hand and you're out of there. Something he said recently, which shocked me that he would say this, which makes me think, this is what makes me think that he really wanted this to be over, is he said that one of the things that shocked him when he drove there, the day he drove there to hide the treasure, he said he was shocked that nobody else was around. Like he thought he was going to have to wait or to whatever, but he just said he was shocked that there was no one else around. So that tells me that this is an area, right? If I was right, let's say, and it was near a rafting put-in, because there's a lot of rafting metaphors in this thing, then maybe that's why he was shocked no one else was around, that there wasn't rafting trips going, because there's always rafting trips. He said he went in the middle of summer. So that would kind of make me believe why he was shocked why no one else around, because he probably thought there'd be rafting trips all the time, and he'd have to wait till a rafting trip took off so he could head into his hiding spot and hide this thing. So interesting. It's going to be really interesting to see what he has to say. Let me see. Let me catch up on chat here. John Howe, how you doing? It's a gift, no tax to the finder. Okay, yep. Was not abandoned. Got it. Yep, a lot of people believe that. Absolutely. A lot of people that believe it is in a cave. Riverstick said a cave by the rapids. Yep. I was actually thinking train tunnel. One of my solves was actually in a train tunnel. May have been why you had to be brave. Out of sight. And also matches up with what he said recently with that the treasure is not in direct sunlight, but the area that it's hidden in is. These are all recent things he said that have really changed things for me, and I think they've changed things for a lot of searchers out there. Yeah, Brian Quilty says, to be honest, he thought it was a hoax. Everybody, you're not alone, brother. I'm telling you, a lot of people think it was a hoax, and since he hasn't released any information about the finder or where it was found, who knows? I mean, he could just maybe say, "Look, it's been found," and they don't want to be revealed, and they don't want the location revealed because they don't want people going there and maybe trampling the area and stuff. And I'm sure they'll probably put up some carbon marker. Will it be like Morrison's gravestone, where people go there and take pictures of it and like drink a 12-pack there and take a picture? Yeah, we're at the hiding spot of Forrest Fenn's treasure. I could just see that happening. I'm telling you. See you, Nick. Good night, man. 3 years, Monica, 3 years I've been working on the search. Not constantly, just always in the back of my head. And it's always one of those things where I got a dull moment. I'll think about it. And it takes you down the rabbit hole, I'm telling you. Once you start thinking about it and you start trying to apply some thought to it, you get sucked right in, man. And all of a sudden hours have gone by and you've just jumped into it. It's been crazy. It's been fun. It's been fun. It's been driving me crazy. It's been brain boggling, but man, I'm telling you, it's been a blast. Yeah. Well, I think that's it, man. It's just been an exciting night for the treasure hunting community. That's why I wanted to go live. I'm going to go ahead and get off of here now, but I want to thank you all for coming along and checking out the live stream. And for those of you who want to see that video of mine that I put out on my very first search 3 years ago, again, I call it the naive search because, my mind and my thoughts have changed so much since then. But at the time, I thought it was a pretty good solve. I'll put a card right up here. Later, I'll attach this card. You'll be able to click right there and go check it out. I'll also put a link down in the description below. You can go check that out. But yeah, hey, thanks for staying up late with me and coming out and checking out the live stream. Dave, great seeing you. Terry, great seeing you. Metal detecting land and water. Excellent, man. Thanks for coming along tonight. Patrick, metal detecting. Yep. Patrick, are you doubtful maybe somebody didn't find it? Yep. Forrest did release a story tonight that said it has been found. So he did kind of release that on Del Neitzel's blog for sure. So we'll see if it actually comes out to hold some water. I'm sure hoping it does. It's just going to be exciting to see where that comes up with. So stay tuned right here at Adventures in Dirt. And I'll definitely be bringing you more information about it as I learn about it, as I'm sure a lot of other people will also. So Murray Fisher, hey, thanks for coming, saying hi. I appreciate that. Dragonfly Digs, Monica, good to see you. K What, great to see you again. Great to see you. Kep Valley, thanks, man. Smith's Gold, Jeff, good to see you. Everyone, thank you all for coming along and joining me tonight. I'm going to go ahead and end this stream, and we will see you all later. Good night, everybody.